All right. Well, everyone's getting all settled in. So our plan for today, first of all, we're really excited to have you here to learn more about Food Day Canada, and we'll share some ideas about how farmers markets can participate. Our plan for today is that it's going to be about 20 minutes of us presenting a little bit of a background on Food Day Canada and giving you some ideas. And then the second half, about 20 minutes, we'll have to actually be able to answer any questions that you may have. So you can kind of hold your questions until that end there. You're welcome to have your camera off if you're more comfortable that way. You can also feel free to enter any questions into the chat. And today we're lucky to have I'm here kind of moderating things. My name is Rebecca. I am helping out coordinating Food Day Canada. I also have a role with the University of Guelph. And as well today speaking, we have Jeff Stewart and Paul Stewart, who are board members of Food Day Canada. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff Stewart. I'm here with my brother Paul as well too. We're both chefs. We've been doing Food Day since day one. With those of you who may or may not know, Anita Stewart, who started this in 2003. So we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I'm Jeff and Paul.
Thanks, Jeff. Welcome, everyone. My name's Paul, and I'm based out of Victoria, BC, and head chef of the Victoria Kool-Aid Society, which is a not-for-profit. And we work very closely with the region's vendors and up the Saanich Peninsula, which is sort of our growing region here north of Victoria. And yeah, I've been looking forward to this webinar. Farmers markets are really dear to us and our family and part of our childhood. So welcome, and hopefully you'll have some questions for us at the end.
That's great. Thank you for those introductions. And as well, just before we begin our presentation, we just want to acknowledge the land that we're gathering on today is the traditional territory of many different nations. For me here, I'm in Guelph, which is also the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. But throughout Turtle Island, there are many different diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. And we want to acknowledge that it's important to recognize their history, especially when we're talking about food in Canada. Really, Indigenous flavors and ingredients are really vital in our conversation. So it's something that we are trying to continue to bring into our work here with Food Day Canada. So now beginning our presentation. As I mentioned, just for our agenda today. So first of all, we'll talk about what is Food Day Canada in case you're unfamiliar with it. How you can actually get involved as a farmer's market, or perhaps you are a farmer and have a farm stand. And then we'll have a long question period as well. We are recording today's webinar today to be used as a valuable tool for people afterwards in case you wanted to come back and watch it or share it with any of your colleagues that you have. All right, I'll turn it over now.
Thanks, Rebecca. So I'm sure you guys can, if you can see that graphic, some of Mom's earliest books were based around farmers markets, particularly in Ontario. And as kids, our parents would take us out to these markets, and it was just a really good way for, as a young person, to be exposed to where a lot of our local food came from. I think it was pretty instrumental in our future chef careers, just to feel connected to our food. And a couple of these books, there's some amazing recipes that Mom gathered from vendors from the markets, and she made some really good connections, particularly in Ontario. I went back to the St. Lawrence market last year, and it was just such a blast from the past. So instead of reading the all the font, I'll let you guys have a look. But that's the purpose of Food Day, is to encourage Canadians to do those things: shop, cook, and dine with Canadian ingredients. As Jeff mentioned, it's been around 20 years, just over 20 years now, and last year being our 20th anniversary. Yeah, so that's a bit of a background on those. Those are, I think, Mom's earliest books, Jeff. Is that right? Farmers markets are first.
Yeah, she started researching farmers markets in Ontario in 1983 with Joe Murray Powers from the University of Guelph.
That's right. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So there's a picture of Mom. Yeah, she wrote 15 books about Canadian food. And as it says there, she got the Order of Canada through that work. She was University of Guelph's first food laureate. And this quote is a good one that she used quite often: is Canada is food and the world is richer for it. She really made it her mission to really try to give Canada a food identity beyond just the things that a lot of people think that we're known for, and that's great: maple syrup and salmon, and there's lots of great things, but we're much more than that. We have a diverse food culture in this country, and it's something that we like to celebrate. So yeah, last year's exciting May 8th, 2023, Bill S-227 was passed through the House of Commons. It was unanimous, 323 to 0 vote. A couple of senators from Ontario helped us with that work, and after 2 years of waiting and a lot of sort of anticipation, the bill, the Food Day in Canada Act was passed. It was something that Mom really wanted to see through. Unfortunately, she passed before this occurred, but we were all really determined to keep the torch held high. So that was exciting for us. And yeah, farmers markets are the best place to begin their celebration, and we think that that needs to happen every day of the year. As long as farmers markets are open, we should be encouraging people to come there and connect with their local food. So this is a picture I took last year. This was before Food Day, so you can see all the bounty of ingredients. This was all out here in BC, but Dungeness crab and spot prawns and some local cheese and a couple of Mum's books and peaches from the Okanagan and blueberries. And this is what really the fundamental, so the beginnings of Food Day is the ingredients and people that are providing those ingredients to us, and the vendors and the producers. Do you want to talk about the views? Is this where I turn it over to you?
That's awesome. Thanks. Yeah. Never really knew this was going to happen when it started, but it's fascinating that it's happened. We've sort of accidentally built an attention engine, and Mom's vision originally was to create at least one day where it's impossible to ignore the culinary contributions of our Northern Bounty. And safe to say we've done that. We've been building momentum over the last number of years. We now have up to 60,000 followers across our channels. And everything wakes up that week before Food Day. We have a big launch party, and there's all sorts of events that happen all the way across Canada. And we want to encourage everybody and get everybody's attention on Canadian food. Mom was over the moon happy in the very last Food Day with us. We were trending in 4 cities across Canada, and that's a pretty fundamental, monumental task to get trending in 4 cities. Last year, we trended nationally as number 4. There's just a huge buzz that happens when everybody jumps on and gets involved and starts sharing the great news about all the amazing things that are out there, especially at farmers markets. So how do you get involved? There's so many different ideas. Rebecca's going to go through some different ideas, but basically, it's no cost. First and foremost, Mom always wanted to make sure this was free, so it's free. It's a lot of fun because we're supporting our communities. We're supporting great messages around environmentalism and reducing carbon and helping people find great food. It's delicious. So it's sort of like this triple bottom line. Some markets have developed a special at their market for the day. Some people are encouraging their vendors and then their followers to pledge participation. And of course, being involved in social media is awesome because the thing about Canada, it's huge. And to be actually participating in a national event, you can start to see what's happening out in, Fogo Island in Newfoundland, and then watch what's happening in PEI, and what are people buying at the markets in Charlottetown, and what's going on in Quebec, and what's happening in Ontario. And then sort of as the sun comes up and sun goes down on Food Day, you get this amazing retrospective picture of all these things that are happening across Canada. So we encourage everybody to, not just get involved and talk about Food Day Canada, but also get on social as well too. Use the hashtag Food Day Canada, but we'll talk more about the hashtags and stuff in a few minutes. Those are some of the ways of initially getting involved. But the thing to remember, it's free, it's fun, and it's inclusive. It's open to absolutely everybody. So there's some different ideas. There's no rules per se, really. You don't have to follow like, this is how you food day. We encourage everybody to just um, get out there and enjoy the local food and connect with the community. And we do the same for the community. We encourage the community to go out and connect with the markets, talk to the vendors, talk to people who are producing the food, get the stories behind the food, tell stories about the food. There's so many different programming ideas. And I'm going to turn over to Rebecca, who's going to take us through a bunch of different really cool things that have been happening over the last few years.
Yeah, and also just to add on to that, I think the really fun thing, having been involved in so many different Food Day Canada events, whether it was in restaurants organizing menus or with a community-led event, I think the nice thing about Food Day Canada is it's definitely a feel-good thing that everyone can get behind. I think in a time where there's a lot of politicized things and really big challenges going on in the world. Food Day Canada is a day where everyone can actually celebrate and have fun, and it's really nice to see community come together over Food Day Canada. And so with farmers markets, it's really up, I think, to you to decide what works best for your community and your vendors and how you want to participate. And I think that's the really cool thing, is that there's no one way to do things. So we have a few different ideas of what we've seen happen in the past, but of course, use your imagination and you can come up with something that might work for you. So one idea is just to have signs throughout your market sharing stories about your vendors. So what makes them special? What are their must-try offerings? And I think just kind of helping share that story about why they are part of the local community, how they contribute to Canadian food is really important. And so that could be signs physically within your farmer's market, and maybe you already do that, or it could be putting more effort into your social media and sharing those stories that way. We've also had different groups put together recipes and suggestions for how to use local food. So maybe you can think of a recipe. For us, we always tend to go towards Anita Stewart's recipes because she was a cookbook author. On the FoodDayCanada.ca website, we do have lots of recipes linked there. So a photo here is of her summer fruit plats. Basically, you go to the market, you can buy any fruit that you want, and you can put it into that dessert. But then things like try and find the flour or the eggs from the market as well too, and really kind of highlighting those different ingredients and different vendors that you have in your market and that end result. So handing out recipes could be a good way to engage people and get people to kind of think about their food a little bit differently. And then this was a great thing that a group in Wellington County in Ontario did. They put together special market boxes for Food Day Canada. So they actually took the initiative to try and plan a meal, and they gathered all the ingredients from all the different vendors and paid the vendors for the ingredients, but they're all kind of boxed in one box. And for the month leading up to Food Day Canada, it was promoted at the market and something celebrated as get this dinner for two. And then on the day of Food Day Canada, people came and picked up their boxes and were able to go home and celebrate. So this idea of kind of bundling things and making it an experience can be an idea as well too. And then one of our last ideas is if you want to feel creative, you could maybe have some kind of a market scavenger hunt or a bingo card, maybe challenging your market goers to ask their vendors certain questions, find certain products, and maybe they get stamped when they get to that point. But really, it's trying to encourage people to learn more about their farmers in their area and have conversations. I think sometimes people can be a little bit afraid to do that, and this can kind of nudge them and maybe learn a little bit more. And then that little incentive, perhaps then that bingo card gets entered into a draw to win a prize. We've seen different markets then offer like a gift certificate to their market if the person wins. So those are a few of these different ideas that we've seen, but we love to share what it is that you're doing. So as Jeff mentioned, a big piece of it is pledging. So on our FoodDayCanada.ca website, if you scroll down halfway through the page, there's an area where you can pledge. And basically what that means is you are just telling us what you're doing, and we add you to a map so people can find your farmers market and know what you are doing. And as well, tag us on social media, which we're going to be getting into, and we will make sure we're sharing and amplifying. And this is another idea as well
Thanks, Rebecca.
too.
Yeah, so last year, for Food Day, I teamed up with the head chef at Camosun College, and they provided us with a food truck, and we took it to the Moss Street Market in Victoria here, and it's sort of our most well-known and most visited farmers market. And we set up the food truck, and we created a menu that day. It was fairly simple. It was just one plate of about 8 different items, but it was all sourced from the Moss Street Market. So we had a beautiful chicken. We made a seafood chowder. We had a vendor that sells some seafood. We had a beautiful salad with all sorts of vegetables on it. Some different sauces again that vendors from the market produced, and we rolled it into a dish. And all the proceeds from that dish went back to those participating vendors. So it was a little bit of a boost for the people. So we purchased the ingredients, but we also gave them any of the profits. So it was just a nice way to give back. I mean, let's face it, we're trying to encourage people to purchase. So Food Day makes a point of not asking for free stuff. We pay for our products. We also then give the profits back to those participating vendors. So it's really important that we encourage the public to do the same. Go to your farmers market and lead with your wallet. I mean, we have to support the people that are there, and the best way to do it is to go out, take your family, and just buy as much as you can. And that's what we're trying to promote. Another idea is a cooking demo, and this has happened over the years as people have purchased ingredients from a farmer's market, and then just host a demonstration. You don't even have to be a chef to do it. It's just a great way to show what's possible when you use seasonal local ingredients, and some of the new ideas that come out of it are always pretty exciting. So we encourage people to share those ideas, send them in, and we'll add that to our social media and just show the country what these unique ingredients and ideas are coming from. So this is a picture here of Chris Jess, the man with the beard. He's the chef instructor at Center Wellington District High School. That's actually where Jeff and I both attended in Fergus, Ontario. And he's always participated in Food Day for years and years and was quite close to Mom. And that's him at the farmers market in Elora. That's our hometown. And he usually does an on-site dinner. So he will purchase from the farms at the market, and then do in the evening as the sun is going down, he'll host a dinner party to celebrate, which I thought was always really special. All right, over to you, Jeff, I think, on that one.
Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. So what we've developed on the website, a variety of different tools and on social media as well too. We're just in the process of updating 2024, but what you'll see in 2024 is a map. Looks a little bit like the one that is up on the screen. And on the map is a series of icons. Those icons are related to different activities or events that are happening across Canada, different chefs, different restaurants, and of course, different farmers markets. So we would love to put a little dot wherever you are on the map and add you into that map so that people in the local area can find you and find out what's going on. On our website, there is a little pledge button. That pledge button is, again, like everything we're doing, free. It's just a way of getting the information from you to us to make sure that we can get you on the map so we can encourage everybody that's in your local area and even beyond your local area to go out and visit your market on Food Day. Obviously, this leads to what we want to create is awareness. There's so much chatter on the web in the internet and in the media. And we like to try to focus this, and we focus it by spreading awareness and getting the message out through social media, through local media as well too. We do a lot of work behind the scenes that isn't necessarily apparent when you just look at the website, but with 60,000 followers, and then with the stories that we get into the local media, I think there was about 270 articles that were written about Food Day last year across Canada. We share tons of information about what's going on in the markets leading up to the weeks before. We even, if there's a market in my area, I'll go out to that market a few weeks before Food Day. Paul does the same thing as well too. Do a little reel, and we'll post that little reel up on social media as well too. And if you have a little reel about your market that really encourages people to come out and shop, send it our way, and we'll make sure that we put that up on our social channels as well too, so we can start to cross pollinate great ideas. And the great ideas are shop, cook, and dine local. Another great idea, highlight your local food stories. Rebecca talked about it already. If there's great vendors, great people, we'll go back to the Elora example right now again, because I'm getting it in my feed all the time right now for the Elora Farmers Market. But the Elora Farmers Market, getting ready for opening, is featuring all of their upcoming vendors. Every few days, there's a new profile on a new vendor that's coming up. So it's really starting to tell those stories and help celebrate those vendors and educating people about what's available and some of the great things about local food. We encourage everybody, obviously for Food Day, it's the Saturday in the first weekend in August, this year, August the 3rd, but we encourage everybody across Canada 365 days a year to go out and shop, cook, and dine local. So, you certainly do Food Day 365, because every day is Food Day in Canada. Again, with social media, I've already mentioned that we've got over 50,000 followers. Here's how it works, and it's a rather interesting kind of system that we have built in the background. I'm not getting too technical. Basically, if you post something on social media that mentions Food Day Canada, then it hits our website and hits our social channels. When it hits our website and hits our social channels, we then re-amplify that again and send that back out to our followers. And of course, they start liking and sharing it as well too. So it becomes this sort of cycle of building and building and building a lot of awareness. And from the aspect of the social media algorithms in the back, the more noise there is about something, the more likely it is to be pushed into other people's feeds. So the pull for us is we pull all this information in, we push it out, but then the social media algorithms really push it out, and it's absolutely amazing when you see our web analytics. It's pretty quiet, and then all of a sudden, it's 230 million impressions, 230 million media impressions in the span of just under a week. We're breaking our servers doing it this much, but it's awesome because it's a great message to get out there, and we would love to help amplify the message from your markets as well too.
And so we've kind of been talking about it throughout, but really we would love for you to become a Food Day Canada champion. And really what that is, just tell everyone about Food Day Canada, help us out. Food Day Canada is a grassroots movement, and it's really led by volunteers. It's a nonprofit. And so trying to get as many people involved as possible is a huge help for us. I think taking the time to educate your team and your vendors about Food Day Canada is great. Hopefully this webinar has helped give you some resources to understand what Food Day Canada is. And as well, if you feel comfortable reaching out to local media, if you are having an event at your farmer's market, it'd be great for you to pitch them to them, for them to come and see what you're doing and promote it. And as I mentioned, there are some tools to try to help you out. So we will be sending out these tools at the end of the webinar through email, and we also will have them up on our website. But all of our slides here will be shared with you in our Farmers Market Toolkit. We also have a graphics templates that you can use where you can pop in pictures just to make it a little bit easier for you, as well as all of our different logos for any marketing material you may want to make. And we also have an ambassador guide, which just helps you learn a little bit more about Food Day Canada and how you can talk about it and spread the word. And as well, we have our website, FoodDayCanada.ca, which has lots of resources on how to shop, cook, and dine Canadian. So that is the end of our speaking portion of our webinar. It's fairly quiet, so I think hopefully we gave you some tools that you need. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to join us, and we hope to see you participating in Food Day Canada this year. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Pleasure to see you
Have a
all.
wonderful
Glad you could
summer.
join us.